Hi students, welcome back to yet another biology class of class 10 science textbook. So today we are going to learn about we are going to deal chapter 5 and the name is life processes. Okay, so before starting the session, I hope you all are fine, doing good and great. So let's start the class. So here you can already see on the board I have written the topic chapter 5 life processes. So before going in depth into the chapter is actually, if you ask me what is the level, like whether it is easy or moderate or difficult, I would say it's like a moderate chapter and an important chapter also. Okay, because we will be studying some of the major life processes that is happening in living organisms. So before going in depth into the chapter, we learn about some terms. Okay, we learn about some terms. So first is living and non-living. Okay, we just want to find the difference between what is living and what is non-living, some basic things. Okay, and how can we link that to life process. Okay, then some important life processes. Okay, in major case we have only these 3-4 life processes in living system, in all living system. Okay, whether it is plants or animals, we can see these 4 life processes. Okay, that is nutrition, okay, respiration, transportation and excretion. Okay, so first let us understand what is the basic difference between a living and a non-living structure, or what is living and non-living. So you may have many examples, right? Like living means they may move. Okay, non-living things won't move, they won't talk. Okay, but do you think that is the basic difference between living and non-living? No. Because if that is the case, if you take movement is the only thing which determines what is living and non-living, then we should say, plants are non-living organisms. But we all know that plants are not non-living, they are living organisms, right? So because they are immortal, we cannot say that they are non-living. So something else is making, or something else is there which makes a difference between living and non-living, right? So let's find out what it is. Okay, so in your text it says that movement of molecules. Okay, if there is some kind of movement of molecules. Okay, so they say that there is some kind of movement. Okay, movement of molecules. Okay, what kind of movement? Okay, so movement of molecules, I'll give you a simple example. If you take the case of nutrition, no, I'll take the case of respiration. Okay, so in case of respiration, you might have heard there is an exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide. So in chemistry you might have learned, no, oxygen, then carbon dioxide, they all are molecules. Okay, chemical molecules. So we take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide outside. So this when we explain this, no, there is a movement of molecules. So we can say that this movement of molecule is associated with living organisms. Okay, another important point that we need to consider is there is a constant maintenance happening inside living organisms. Okay, if you are sleeping, or if you might have heard about people who are collapsed, or people who are in coma stage. Can we say that the person is non-living? No, they are a living organisms, because some kind of homeostasis or stability is happening inside their body, some balance is happening. That is due to some movement of molecules, or some balance of molecules happening inside. Okay, so lot of damages are happening inside our body. Okay, so many damage, repair, everything is happening inside our body, right? So it needs to be effectively repaired. For that we need energy. So we can connect all these things, right? So look, we have living organism. Living organism is associated with maintenance and damage prevention. Okay, maintenance and damage prevention. Okay, maintenance and damage prevention. Okay, the maintenance and damage prevention. For that we need what? We need energy. Okay, we need energy. This is important. Now the next question is, how do we get this energy? Okay, you all might have guessed it right now. How do we get energy? Through food, the food we eat. Okay, so can you connect that food we eat with the first life process, that is nutrition, right? Nutrition, then food, getting energy. So we are going into the first life process, which is nutrition. Okay, so nutrition. So let's see what nutrition is. Okay, nutrition. Okay, so nutrition, what we will study the definition of nutrition. So nutrition is simply a process. Okay, it is a process. Okay, it's a process of taking food and utilizing it. So it is a process of intake of food. Okay, these terms are very important. When they ask for exam what is nutrition, you cannot simply say that eating. Okay, nutrition is simply taking some food or eating. It's actually a process. So when, especially in science, it is important to use scientific terms. Okay, so when you talk about nutrition, nutrition is the process by which the food is taken in. Okay, it's a process of intake of food. Okay, so it's a process of intake of, it's a process of intake of food and utilizing it. It will be good if you note down all these in your notebook. Okay, so process of intake of food and utilizing it for what? To gain energy. Okay, to gain energy. Fine. So with this process, I am going to tell you one more word. Okay, these words you might have heard before, but we need to know scientifically how to define this. This will help you even when you write answers for your board exams. Okay, the term that I am going to introduce, it's not an introduction, you all know it, but then in scientific terms we are going to know all this. Okay, nutrient. Okay, nutrient. Okay, so what is nutrient? Nutrient is a substance which is used for this, for nutrition or to gain energy. We need this nutrient. So nutrient is an important substance. Okay, now I'll take the next page. So nutrition itself we can divide into two types of nutritions. Okay, we need to study this, that is the classification of nutrition. Okay, so we have nutrition, right? So nutrition. So we will be studying about autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. So I'll just show you the basic differentiation between them. Okay, see this differences between autotrophs and heterotrophs. So the organisms which undergo autotrophic nutrition is called as autotrophs, and the organisms which undergo heterotrophic kind of nutrition we call them as heterotrophs. Okay, so here we have a table. Okay, it shows the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs. Okay, so you have this question. Okay, we have seen many times these for your board exams, right? So they repeat these questions. What is the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs? So how do you answer this? It's a descriptive kind of question, right? So you have to present your answer as such like this. Okay, just take a screenshot if you need. Okay, it will be good. That is, you have to divide your answer sheet into two, that is autotrophs, heterotrophs. Okay, in the middle you have a line here. 6 points are there. Okay, mainly if there is 6 points, maybe they may be asking it for 3 marks, we don't know, 3 marks or 5 marks you can expect. Okay, so autotrophs and heterotrophs. Let's go into each of it. Okay, so here you have under the autotrophs, first point is they synthesize their own food materials. Okay, see the difference there. Heterotrophs, they depend on other organisms, that is both autotrophs and heterotrophs for their food. Okay, so from the sentence it is very clear. I don't think that you need more explanation for that. They synthesize their own food materials means what? What comes to your mind? Plants, right? We don't want to like how our mothers make food in our kitchen. We don't need to make any food for plants. Okay, you may say we put fertilizers. That is another case. Okay, but then if you put fertilizers also, these plants are making their own food from these inorganic nutrients with the help of many other things. Okay, we'll come into photosynthesis, the process called photosynthesis, where the autotrophs makes their own food. They take carbon dioxide, water, everything. Okay, whereas in our case, okay, we went into the kitchen and we are making our own food. That doesn't mean that we are autotrophs. We are actually taking support from other living organisms. Okay, for example, we are making a vegetable curry. We are taking vegetables from plants. So we are not making vegetables by ourselves, right? We are getting vegetables from plants. So we are heterotrophs. If you are planning to eat a chicken curry, we are taking chicken from, you know, chicken is another heterotroph actually, which depend on a plant. Okay, so that connection should be there. Okay, don't just confuse it. There is no need of confusion also. Okay. Second point, they use carbon dioxide as source of carbon for growth and development. That is something which comes under the autotroph. So I just finished saying that. That is, they use inorganic materials, right? They use carbon dioxide as source of carbon for growth and development. Main ingredient of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide. Okay. Then they use organic substance to get their carbon for growth and development. Okay. Here in case of heterotrophs, no, they don't use inorganic. Now if we get some potassium, okay, inorganic nutrients, if I am saying some examples, potassium, water, carbon dioxide, it is given to us. Just imagine ourselves as an example. If it is given to us, can we make food? No. We need some organic materials, no? All this should be, if it is in a form of a fruit or if it is in a form of a complete vegetable, then we can make food. That is a just simple example that we can think about, okay. Next I'll tell about the autotrophs. They convert inorganic carbon dioxide and water into organic sugar, that is glucose. I think that's very clear, right? We'll be studying about this in detail when we study about photosynthesis, okay. So don't worry about that, but you have to keep this in mind. Now here when you look, they require nutrients already produced in organic form, the case of vegetables that we eat. Okay, just keep in mind about that. Then here they are producers in the food web and are placed at the primary level. So you might have learned about food chain. Okay, food chain means producers, then consumers, okay, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the chain goes like that. So autotrophs will be the first, okay, first in the sense plants, okay, so plants are the autotrophs. Then heterotrophs will be the consumers, okay. They are the consumers in the food web and occupy secondary or tertiary levels. That is all the other organisms which comes after plant. Okay. Next is motility is not required due to autotrophic mode of nutrition. Very important point. Okay. Motility is not required due to autotrophic mode of nutrition in case of plants. We say that plants are non-motile, right? They don't need that ability. They don't need to be motile because they have the ability to make their own food. So they don't need to hunt, okay, they don't need to gather anything, okay. So this is it. Motility is not required due to autotrophic mode of nutrition. See this point. Next, what the point that comes under heterotroph? They move from one place to another. Main reason for motility is to obtain food. Just remember about the hunting behavior that humans have. Not only humans, in case of a tiger, okay, they need to move, they need to work themselves to get food, Okay, in case of humans also it is same. No, if we simply sit immotile somewhere, nobody is going to give us food, or neither we are not able to make food by ourselves. So we have to move. Okay, so we finished the first point. Now next is the examples, quote examples. Quote examples in biology. If you are taking about process or whatever it is, examples are important. You have plenty of examples. Okay, so and when you quote examples also, you should be very careful. Okay, because lot of exceptions are there. So when you don't just mix up the examples. Okay, I am not saying about the case of autotrophs or heterotrophs alone, but as a in general sense I am saying. Okay, so here when you come under autotroph, the example is all green plants and some bacteria, and here we have examples of animal, fungi. Look, majority people are in heterotroph case. Okay, non-green plants are there. Okay, non-green plants are there. Okay, so animals, fungi, protist, that is some bacteria, then non-green plants. Fine. So I hope the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs is very clear to you. It should be clear. As I said before, if you are able to take a screenshot, this is actually a material from our foundation document. Okay, so if you want, you can take a PDF of this and then study, because this is how you have to present if a question is asked. You will get full marks. Okay, for this. Okay, now back to our topic. Okay. Yes. So, we studied about autotrophs, right? So, I will put it in green. Autotrophs are green plants, right? Autotrophs. Okay. Autotrophic nutrition. Okay. Yes. So, in autotrophic nutrition itself, we have again classification coming. Okay. This is a bit of advanced, but it is worth learning. That's why I am mentioning that also. One is photoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs. Okay. Second one is chemoautotrophs. So, autotrophic nutrition, we have photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs. Okay. Now, one of the, I will just tell you about the advantage of subject biology. Okay. Many things you can learn from the term itself. Okay. If someone asks you what is photoautotroph, okay, simply by just understanding the term itself, we can come into a conclusion what it is. Okay. I will tell you how. If you have a doubt regarding that, I will explain to you how it is. So, photoautotrophs we have. So, photo, just take this, just split the word. Okay, photo plus autotroph, just split the word. Photo means it is light. Okay, photosynthesis, lot of photo words will come into photoreceptors. Okay, these are some of the terms in biology. So, photo means it is light. Okay, photo means it is light. Okay, autotrophs we just learned, no? Okay, I hope you all are saying it in your mind what autotroph is. Okay, autotroph is the organisms which makes their own food. So, you might have guessed now what the term means. That is, autotrophs means they use sunlight. Okay, they use sunlight for making their own food. That is autotrophs. Okay. Chemoautotrophs. Okay, this should be a bit easy for you. It should be more easy. Okay, chemoautotrophs. I am again splitting the word like how I did before. Chemo means it is chemical. Okay, you might have heard chemistry study of chemicals, right? So, chemo means it is chemicals. Okay, chemicals. Okay. Autotrophs, again the organisms which make food of their own. So, using chemicals. Okay, just chemicals, they don't use light energy. Okay, when you talk about the examples, no, you have all the plants coming under this category. Okay, plants are coming under this category. Okay, and in case of this case, no, bacteria. Okay, we have like hydrogen bacteria, sulfide bacteria. These are the examples of chemoautotrophs. Okay, they solely use what? Chemicals. Okay, they absorb chemicals and they do their metabolism. Fine? Cool? Okay. So, one more topic is there. After that, we will end our session. Just one more. That is, likewise we said about the classification of autotrophs, I am going to classify heterotrophs for you. So, I will just change the color. I will give brown for that. We are talking about the organisms which depend on other organisms, right? So, heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, this can be divided into saprophytic nutrition. Okay, then parasitic nutrition. Then the final one is holozoic nutrition. Fine. Saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition, holozoic nutrition. What I would suggest is just keep on repeating these terms in your mind. Okay. If you keep on revising, no, it will never go out of your mind. So, saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition, holozoic nutrition. So, this comes under what? Heterotrophic nutrition. Okay. I will just quickly go through what all it is. Saprophytic nutrition, with example I will talk first. So, example of this is, fungi, mushroom. These organisms cannot make food of their own. Okay, what they do is, they take the nutrients, mainly dead matters. Okay, dead and decaying, whether it be leaf litter or animal, dead bodies of animal, they will not absorb as such as. First of all, they will digest them into smaller, simpler components using some enzymes. Okay, and with the help of that, they will they will divide or they will break down these complex molecules into simpler molecules, then they absorb via their body surface. That is how saprophytic nutrition is done. Okay, parasitic nutrition example. Okay, parasitic nutrition, I will give an example of a plant. Okay, that is the first thing just coming in my mind. Plant. You know which plant it is? It is orchid plants. Okay, orchids which are seen on mango trees. They are a very good example of parasites. So, you might have seen this. So, what happens is, they grow on these mango plants. Are they killing the mango trees? Sorry, not mango plants, mango trees. Okay, are they killing the mango trees? No, they are absorbing the nutrients. They are taking whatever they need without killing them. Okay, so in this case, they are depending on mango tree, right? They are depending on mango tree. So, mango tree is the host here and the parasite is the orchid. Okay, parasite is the orchid. Okay, so we have an orchid here, we have a mango tree here. So, it takes nutrients from the mango tree. Okay, without killing the mango tree. If the host is killed, automatically the orchid cannot live. Okay, that is one case of parasite. Another, a good example I will say. Sorry. If you take the case of parasite, fleas and ticks. Okay, fleas and ticks, you know, right? Fleas and ticks, or even the lice that you see in your head, lice that you see in your hair. Okay, they are not killing us, but then they are taking maximum, whatever they need, they are taking in maximum. Okay, so that is an example of parasitic nutrition. Now, the last but not the least, holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition, I will give the example so you will understand better. Okay, example is humans or any wild animals, okay, wild animals or some higher animals. Okay, what do? They take the food as such as it is. Okay, before taking they won't process, means cooking is done of course, but then in some cases when you take the case of animals, the cooking is not done. We are taking the food as such as it is. Okay, as such we are taking the food, and all the breakdown, that is breaking down into simpler compounds, happen inside our body. So we are taking the food in its complex nature itself, and where does the breaking down happen? Inside our body it happens, in the stomach, in the intestine, which we come later on we will study about that. Okay, so that is the holozoic kind of nutrition. So I'll just quickly recap what all we learned. So we started with the chapter, the intro part, the living, non-living, how we classified it. Okay, then we talked about the living we need, that is a maintenance happening, right? All the damage preventions, everything should be there. So there is a maintenance happening. Then for that we need energy. Okay, for that we need energy. So for that we have these life processes. This is the main thing. Okay, this is the main thing which defines a living and a non-living. Okay, life process. So we have nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion. Fine. Then we took one by one. First the nutrition, as I told before, definitions, especially the terms that we use should be pakka scientific. Okay, process of intake of food and utilizing it to gain energy. So it's a process of taking, it's a process of intake of food. Okay, then we told about the nutrient. Then we told about the two types of nutrition, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. Then you might have, I think the table is there in your mind. I am not going to show again because we had a great discussion about that. Then we have the autotrophs. Again we can divide them into photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs, where photoautotrophs they use light, example plant. Chemoautotrophs, I didn't write this thing. Okay, it's bacteria. Okay, bacteria is an example of chemoautotrophs. Okay, then we classified the heterotrophic nutrition as saprophytic, parasitic, holozoic nutrition, and we know the examples. Okay, and we studied the definition for each. Saprophytic, they feed on dead and decaying matter. Parasitic, they again live on a living thing, take all the nutrients without killing them. Then holozoic nutrition, where the food is taken as such. There is no digestion outside the body but inside the body, and absorption, everything is happening inside the body, especially breaking down the complex molecule into simpler ones. Okay, so with that we end today's session. I hope it was useful to you. Please be prepared to learn the terms. Okay, consistency will surely will help you to get all these concepts, and yeah, so we'll see you next time. Thank you.